We only got one more title left, excluding the likes of the extra game, which appears to be Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, but that will be safe up and during the final day of August. So, yeah, hey everyone, this is me, Sonic the Hedgehog here, and of course we are back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of the Sonic's Game Gear Marathon. So, yesterday, that Rarity did now finally finish up with Tails Adventure for the Sega Game Gear. And that was pretty much it for all the Tails games the system has to offer. But even though there's only 2 games so far for Tails, but even then at this point in time, there aren't any Tails games out there at this point in time. Well, there are some parts that you can actually play as Tails in, like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, and even Sonic 06, Sonic Heroes, built in with the actual team gameplay aspect, and all that 2D Sonic Advance games, and all that stuff and shenanigans. So even then, that's all I can really discuss upon. So yeah, today for this particular point, ladies and gentlemen, today was actually forms of the 29th of August. That means there's going to be a final game we're going to be doing the Let's Play on, and that was the form of Sonic Blast. And speaking of such, Blossom is going to be taking charge of the actual Sonic Blast Let's Play. So even then, with that being said, that, well, it's going to be interesting, because even then though, that was essentially the 5th platforming game in the Sonic franchise on the Sega Game Gear. Even then though, truth be told, this is actually going to be the final Sonic game to be released on that particular system. And as far as I can gather for that quickly, that she will going to clarify she will able to actually do just one playthrough, and that's about it. So even though there's nothing groundbreaking or special or anything about it, but even though we only got one more title left to look up on in the Let's Play department, so even then, ladies and gentlemen, 12% Blossom in Sonic Blast. Hello everyone, I'm Blossom here, and I'm one of the 3 members of the Powerpuff Girls franchise. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll present to you the last Game Gear Sonic game to be released on that particular console, which is in forms of Sonic Blast for the Sega Game Gear. Now I believe this game did manage to only came out in 1996, and I believe it was sometime after Sonic 3D Blast came around, or Sonic 3D Flicky's Island for the Mega Drive version. And I believe before when the Saturn version of the exactly same game with, you know, a different release date. Because I believe in 1997 they managed to got the Sega Saturn version of, you know, Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, and alongside with Sonic Jam as well, and even Sonic R as a result. So, as far as this title suggests, that you're actually going to be playing as not only Sonic the Hedgehog, but also for the first ever debut of playable character department as Knuckles the Echidna, and the only title in the main series of the Game Gear titles as far as that's been concerned. Knuckles the Echidna is now playable in this game in particular. And if you're Tails fans out there, I'm really sorry that Tails was not in this game or anything like that. He's not in the opening cutscenes or anything like that. I think it's probably due to the limitations of the handheld or anything like that, or maybe they've run out of DS or anything like that. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to actually see Sonic and Knuckles in action, just like it does in Sonic and Knuckles, in the Mega Drive version that is in 1994. But for this particular main playthrough of the game, or in this case the main Let's Play of Sonic Blast, we're still pretty much stuck with Sonic, at least for now. So even then, I don't think there's anything to say about Knuckles' gameplay aspect, but from what I've heard, he basically plays exactly like how it does in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, except the fact that, although I will discuss on the movesets as soon as we proceed to this game, so even though for the most part, the first zone we're going to be run into is actually forms of Green Hill Zone, not to be confused as any other Green Hill Zone and variations from any other Sonic titles, which is kind of a bit tiring after once in a while, but even then, I don't mind it too much. But in this game in particular, one thing I've actually noticed right off the bat is the fact that, as far as you guys can clearly tell, I managed to recently finish up this first level in the game super fast, is the fact that the physics themselves are completely off in this title, and the game can get a lot faster to actually complete it on, and this is definitely one of the shortest Sonic games ever made. I mean, surely you can manage to, it's almost very short compared to how it does in Sonic Chaos, and especially noticeable in Sonic Labyrinth, or anything like that. but I digress. So, if you guys lived in Japan, that this game does not call it Sonic Blast. No, instead it was actually called G-Sonic, because I don't know why they just call it G-Sonic for some reason in Japan. I think it's probably because in Sonic Blast, as far as the visual standpoint, it looks directly ripped right out of from Sonic 3D Blast, or in this case Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, from that polygonal look. But even then though, it's really bland, or even then, it just feels really weird to see how this little Sonic 3D Flicky's Island sprite into the Game Gear 8-bit handheld. I know it's a little bit weird though, as far as I can see this is happening, so... Special Stage obviously does make a return ever since Sonic Chaos and Sonic Triple Trouble, but the difference is this time around though is that, taking notes from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles is the fact that we need to actually find the giant rings at some of these hidden points throughout the level, or excluding the likes of Sonic Mania, mind you. But basically what we have to do is just find a giant ring, and that's how you actually instantly transport to the special stage themselves. As far as in the particular points, that the reason why I'm going to this special stage, in most likely in Act 2 in variations of the levels themselves, because if you find a special stage ring in Act 1, it gets like a different themed environment, like the green-ish type of checkerboard, but in Act 2 in variation, it gets all red and brown-ish type of checkerboards. So even then though, that's why I'm going there. And also not to mention though, the only different rewards you're getting after doing so, if you manage to collect 50 rings at the special stages, which are very simple and easy to actually get with. However, there's one gripe I have with these special stages, that sometimes the depth perception on grabbing those rings, especially noticeable if you want to get them from the air, is always a little bit too, well, strict. But even then now, that's what I can gather through here for. And of course you do get Chaos Emeralds in this game. Now, unlike in Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic Chaos, and especially Sonic Triple Trouble, there are only like 6 emeralds in those games. But this game in particular, it only contains only 5 of them. I'm not sure why they actually bring up 5 emeralds instead of 6. But even then, no, that's probably due to, again, the limitations of the handheld. Or probably it's probably because of how the fact that this game only contains 5 zones this time around. Spoiler alert, but it does. But anyway, so as you can see right there, I managed to reward myself a Sonic icon. Basically what this does is that it allows me to get myself an extra continue. So yeah, there are several signpost awards, just like how it does it in Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble, and Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But even then, it could be summed up as like this, like, if you get an Eggman icon, you don't get anything, obviously. And, also, if you grab yourselves the rings, actually gives you 10 additional rings. And if depends on what playable characters you'll be selecting, either Sonic or Knuckles, Sonic, if you manage to play as Sonic, if you get Sonic icon, you get yourselves an extra continue. But if you get a Knuckles icon, then you get yourselves 30 rings. So, and it's vice versa for the same thing for Knuckles here and there as well, like, for instance, Knuckles gets a Sonic icon, gets 30 rings, and then if he gets a Knuckles icon, then he gets an extra continue. And there's also some 2 rare ones here and there too, like the Chaos Emerald icon is actually gives you an extra continue, and, or, I believe, no, it was actually forms of the extra life, basically, for Sonic and Knuckles icons. Sorry about that, folks. It's because I haven't usually touched this game for quite some time. Anyways. Much like in Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, you only have to deal the damage of Dr. Robotnik onto this glass stone, because if you try to attack him from the bottom, it will not count as the attack. So even then though, you have to basically try to actually time your jumps and whatnot until you actually get yourselves, you know, some damaging output for him. So, and now we'll move on to Yellow Desert. Get it? Green Hill and Desert, Yellow Desert. It's a little generic as far as the actual level names as far as I can see, so even then. Yeah, I guess I was wrong about that, for I said that getting a continue in this game is that I believe you have to get a Chaos Emerald sign, so I must have thinking to myself for that last sign reward, which by the looks of it was actually Supersonic, because Supersonic is actually rare to actually getting yourselves in the slime post, and this is the only Game Gear Sonic game that Supersonic makes an appearance in this particular handheld. Which is what I found super odd, because even then though, in any other Game Gear titles, that it doesn't give us 7 Chaos Emeralds, unlike the Mega Drive games. So, yeah, that's pretty strange. So, anyway though. And of course, since I'm going to be playing as Sonic for the entire adventure, sometimes between those two characters, those two do have those different abilities. Like, for instance, Sonic can actually obtain himself. That was before when Sonic Colors came around, and even especially noticeable in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and even Sonic Lost World, basically, so that he can actually perform himself as double jump. And basically, in order to perform it, by simply you have to jump in midair, and if you press the jump button again, then you weren't able to do a double jump. So yeah, that's self-explanatory. And also Knuckles can actually have himself his gliding ability, just like how he does it in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, and as well as the wall climbing aspect as well. So even then, that's pretty good as far as I can say. But the big problem I have with Knuckles' abilities though is that I really don't like how the fact that how slow it was. And even then though, sometimes he drops like a rock, just like how it does in Knuckles' gliding in Sonic 06. But even then though, that was before that time, but even then, that just feels a little bit too buggy for that little department there, I have to must admit. Unlike the ones in Sonic 3D, Flicky's Island though, when it comes to special stages, you only have one try to actually anticipate it for it, because if you mess up on that special stage, then I won't get the best ending, so... But again, if you get the best ending of the game, you must able to collect all 5 of the Chaos Emeralds. I know, strange odd number to actually get Chaos Emeralds from. Now, if you think about it, as you can see, I managed to grab myself a green Chaos Emerald from earlier ago. That was usually based off from the colors of the actual perspective zones in general. Like, for instance, if I get the yellow Chaos Emerald in this particular Yellow Desert Zone 2, or Act 2 I should say, for that yellow Chaos Emerald I've got, it'll actually correspond into the current color what the level you're in. So, and vice versa, and the list goes on, basically. So, you know. And of course you're probably wondering I'm going back all the way to the beginning, right there. It's probably because, much like how it does in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, for the Game Gear, and especially noticeable in Sonic Triple Trouble, once again there are checkpoint monitors, which even then that, you know, these arrows facing down, that usually counts as checkpoint monitors. In order to actually activate them is by, yet again, you have to touch one until you actually decide to save your current point of the checkpoint. So, then the list goes on though, really. What I found is really odd as well is that this game doesn't usually show you the life counter unless if you actually get into the actual introduction title card or even the results screen, which I found is super odd. And also it doesn't show the timer. Well, usually much like any other old school Sonic games, specifically the 2D ones, you will get a time over if you manage to pass for 10 minutes or so. So even then, you don't want to let that happen. So yeah, I managed to get myself an extra life. So even though my extra life count is now up to 5. So yeah, as far as I can see, what the levels themselves are pretty generic as it is. It is very short and easy as well, not to mention that. So, much like in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic Chaos, and even Sonic Triple Trouble, that, you know, you're actually going to be containing those 3 different acts in each zone, just like how it does it from before. Like, basically, the first 2 acts are considerably the platforming levels, and then the 3rd act has always been the boss battles, so even then, yeah. Now, just like in Sonic Chaos and Sonic Triple Trouble, you do get some rings to actually, before you start the fight. But even then though, this game is rather generous with rings though, it's not to mention, so even then, yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. And of course, that was before when, I would say Shadow the Hedgehog came around, where, you know when you get hit by an enemy, back in the old days, that you lose all of your rings, and then Triple Trouble you lose like 30 rings. But this game, if you manage to get hit by an enemy, or these certain attacks, you will lose 10 rings. So that was before the exactly same thing as it does before Shadow the Hedgehog came around. But even then though, that's one thing I need to point out though, right off the bat. And of course, much like last time, is that if you get hit by an enemy or anything like that, or spikes in general, the rings will once again scattered across, so even then though, that we have to re-grab them and stuff. And now we move on to the 3rd zone, Red Volcano Zone. Oh boy, I just found these little level names to be quite bland, and how lame it was. I mean, surely we've already seen Green Hill Zone like multiple times during the Sonic universe as far as this point, excluding the likes of Sonic Forces incoming, in this case the, you know, Sonic Forces, the upcoming game on the PlayStation 4 and all what have you. But then, in the next zone you get, like, Yellow Desert and Red Volcano. That's a bit generic. I'm gonna say this much right now. So, the first time I actually played, I managed to experience in this game, that first time I've actually experienced in this game was actually formed of yet again. Much like how it does in Sonic Labyrinth, I managed to first experience in this game thanks to Sonic Mega Collection Plus on the PlayStation 2. So yeah, that was actually the first time I've ever experienced in this game for the first time. But even then though, thanks to the Sonic Adventure DX and Sonic Mega Collection Plus, you can actually experience in this game. So yeah, as far as I'm aware. And I believe that if you ever played Sonic Adventure DX, as far as the actual emblem hunting as far as this is concerned, alongside with Tails Adventure, this might be the final game you're actually going to be unlocking for that point. So even then though, between these two titles, these are the final unlockable Game Gear titles in the Sonic Adventure DX. Well, usually you get Sonic Blast from the get-go in Sonic Mega Collection Plus from the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. So, yeah, you get the idea. So of course we need to actually go past all those little, I have no idea what the Robotnik does, but even then, originally that's back in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and especially Sonic the Hedgehog 2's multiplayer mode, Robotnik normally does is that he'll take your rings away. However, I'm sorry, did I say lose rings? Because what I meant to say, because in this game it doesn't do anything to me at all. I mean, it's not that much of a challenge. So, anyway though. As you can see, we actually breezed in for the third zone already for almost 15 minutes. Like, seriously, you can actually breeze through this game like tremendous amount of time. So anyways, the next special stage ring is actually up there, but thankfully though, for Sonic's double jump ability, you can fully experience, you can actually just reach upwards in that point. So, I actually expect that they're gonna get a lot harder for those special stages, but the main goal is the same. So even then though, that there aren't any drastic difference or anything like that. Like, you know, still they don't be bothered to actually just to change up the rings amount you need to collect. And as far as the actual environment itself actually goes, nothing else remarkably inspired to me. I mean, the only time it's kind of annoying is that whenever you get into the springs, sometimes, and the speed boosters, that you will lose a whole you will miss a whole bunch of rings as soon as you zip past it. So even then, that's the only bugging thing I find for the special stages I find. So anyway, so, the reason why I'm not going to the special stages in Act 1, because it's, for one, it seems kind of worthless to me, because all you get, if you manage to complete those Act 1 special stages in Act 1, you get yourself an extra life. But that's the reason why I'm going for the Act 2 version instead, because it contains a Chaos Emerald. So, yeah, as far as I was going to be hoping for that anyway. And also the visuals on that particular game as well, that it's so super weird. Like, every time I looked at the actual game, in-game model, not to mention Sonic himself, but also Knuckles as well. It does like the exactly same thing as far as Donkey Kong Country clone or something. Like, usually the polygonal model is very similar, as well as the likes of Donkey Kong Land for the Game Boy franchise. So yeah, at least as far as the in the actual Donkey Kong Country trilogy, they did a remarkable job thanks to the Rareware is responsible for all that. So even then, at least I give that game some credit. That the visuals do look absolutely great. Well, at least in this game, it's not so looking appealing as far as the actual visual standpoint is concerned, because, you know, it just looks weird. So even then, at first I thought it was going to be something almost related to the cartoony-ish type of visuals at one point, but nope, they have to heavily borrow the visuals from the likes of Sonic 3D Flicky's Island instead. Which again, it's totally weird on a handheld, but even then, that's how it usually goes. Oh yeah, one more thing before I actually continue on. Oh yeah, I managed to get myself 30 rings by the likes of the Knuckles icon into that signed billboard. One thing I actually noticed something right off the bat though is that this game also came around during the Sega Master System as well. But only Brazil got it, so even then though, that for European and American and Japanese audience, you're not able to get experience on Sonic Blast on the Master System. But at least, luckily in Brazil, they managed to get the experience on the, you know, the Master System version of Sonic Blast. So, yeah, you get the idea. Alright, so here we come to the third boss in the game. Now, in order to actually get towards this, now we need to climb up. So even then though, that thanks to, again, Sonic's double jump, that it makes the platforming sections a hell of a lot easier. But even then, as far as I can gather at that point anyway. Plus, again, this game is really generous with rings, because you can get a lot of rings in this game, especially noticeable how the fact that you're having a really hard time on these levels like this, mainly the next level most likely after this, because even then, it's not so terrible about it, it's just a little bit too simplistic for my taste, because, well, the levels originally the lava was supposed to be a threat, but basically you can actually jump over it, like, almost an instant. So, that's a little bit too obvious. Anyways, here we on to the next boss in the game, which is actually forms of Dr. Robotnik, by the likes of this little, Bogo, or in this case, a little Springio, just like it does in Sonic Chaos. Except the fact that he's now going to be using his Javelin Bowl Throw, or in this case, a Hammer Throw type of ability. And then basically you have to dodge that until you actually, about to time your jumps to actually just to hit his blast zone. So, you get the idea. So, yeah, I digress. So, but yeah, with that being said though, apologize for this banging noise, because even then though, I've heard from, Buttercup and Bubbles are essentially having some fun during that time on, Sonic Mania so far. So, it's big as such, that Let's Play should be happening during the next 3 months, so even then I might be looking forward to that. And now we move on to the 4th zone. Oh god, Blue Marine Zone. And I died at the very start. Yeah, here's another thing about this game, is that the reason why I say that the physics themselves is super off, because no matter what though, that when you come to a loop-de-loop or anything like that, sometimes either Knuckles or Sonic, sometimes they always try to actually not to go through the actual loop-de-loop thing without even like speeding things up. Like I was trying to do a spin dash at one point, but then they decided to actually just not letting me go through a loop-de-loop at all. Even though that's kind of useless. And also another thing is worth mentioning as well that's really off about the physics in this game, that you know the enemies in this game that you know when you're trying to actually roll into them and trying to actually destroy them in the process. The only bugging thing I realized now something is that if you manage to rolling or curve into a ball and then trying to get off the edge, and then next thing you notice is that it just stands up again, which even then though, that just feels so wrong in many ways. Even then though, that's as far as I can really gather for that one point or another. So, as far as I'm aware, that a lot of people seem to think this is easily the weakest platforming Sonic games to be ever released on, because, you know, as far as I can gather, because, you know, physics themselves is slightly off, and even then, that's as far as I can really just say for this much, I have to be honest with you. So, yeah, you get these suggestions. So, and then final thing before actually pointing things out though, is the fact that, well, in Blue Marine, as far as the level I'm in right now, it almost feels very similar to Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 1, and Aqua Lake Zone from Sonic 2, and also Aqua Planet from Sonic Chaos, and finally Tidal Plant Zone from Triple Trouble. Unlike in those water levels, that I don't have any issues with that. Well, the only time I having sort of a bit of a trouble back in the day was actually from the, you know, Tidal Plant Zone from Sonic Triple Trouble because of the, well, the confusing maze and all that stuff. Specifically in Act 2, most likely. But I'm assuming that Mickey Mouse did manage to finish that level no problem. However, though, when it comes to Blue Marine, oh my god, it is so freaking slow. Like, you can basically guarantee you're actually going to be stuck in underwater for quite a long time. Plus, not to mention though, that, you know how the fact that, in most of the Game Gear Sonic titles, they don't usually bring up a drowning theme or anything like that. So even then though, they decide to actually go for a little bit of a beep, beep, beep. Anything else would be desirable, but even then, yeah. Now, predictably, unlike in any other platforming games on the Sonic career department in the Game Gear titles most likely, you get yourselves 5 seconds to actually survive on that particular underwater, but even then, sometimes it counts like either slow, or even other times it counts down quite quickly. However, in this game this time around, we're going back on to, more accurately, I'm assuming 9 seconds or something like that, which, even then, still, you've got plenty of time to escape. But even then, though, until when it gets to, you know. So, yeah, even though Act 1's not too bad, but it's just the fact that when we get into Act 2, oh my god, I cannot stand Act 2, because even then, we'll get to that in a moment, so, yeah, I have no idea why the checkpoint was placed there, which is pretty unnecessary, so even then, we'll just have to end things off here, so join me next time on Let's Play Sonic Blast for the sake of Game Gear. It's the fact that we moved on to Act 2 of Blue Marine Zone. Oh boy, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.